which is great. But sometimes we struggle to draw the analogy on it happening to non-Muslims or happening to people in the past. And so this is the same colonial project, the same stamp of the colonial project and settlements that happen here that's happening to our brothers and sisters in Palestine, which is that people from different parts of the world are coming, settling, expelling the original population, the indigenous population to that area, giving them subpar rights and taking and in a way abusing the resources in the land that the indigenous population of that land had. And again, we see this not just in Palestine, but in East Turkmenistan. We see how the Uyghur are also treated, again, a little bit different, but there's this same rubric that's being followed in many ways. Some parts of it change, but the mindset behind it stays there. But just like we are there, or we are striving and we should be there for our brothers and sisters in Palestine, we should be concerned with what happened and again the aftermath of that's still going on till today. Part of the challenge is that up until recently there was huge silence against a lot of these injustices that happened, and it wasn't until a few years ago that there had been some recognition from the government towards improving those situations. And I say some because there's a huge way to go, in my opinion. There's still a long way to go before we correct the action that has happened in the past. If you look at the census, for example, in 2021, the indigenous population formed 5% of Canada, about 5% of Canada, which is very comparable to the Muslim population in Canada. So what is this? Well, one thing that we might be hearing about around this time of the year is the Orange Shirt Day, the Every Child Matters campaign. And this is one of the things, again, in the analogy that I drew at the beginning of the khutbah, is that the concept, or one of the concepts that were practiced in this colonial project, was the idea of taking children from their families, putting them into schools that would, as was described by the white man then, take the Indian out of the child. And so the idea is to take whatever this child's culture was, belief was, didn't matter. We need to wash this child of everything they believed in and make them one of us. And over the past 200 years, from the early 1800s to the late 1900s, it's estimated that over 150,000 children went through these school systems. And these were run by the state, by the governments. This is not something that was ad hoc here and there. This is not something that a few people did, but this is something that was institutionalized. This is something that if people weren't involved in, at least they were silent about, but they were still essentially enabling this.